Hey everyone, it's QW, Artisans of Glimmith, etc., etc. So I'm gonna make this window gold. There we go. Let's jump right in. Range. Maximum. All regions have an area of at most 2. So it's either a singleton or a domino. There's really no option aside from that. Um, so let's figure out what we gotta go here. In this, you know what I can do is I'm just gonna say X and Y. We're not sure which one is which, but whatever is X is here, and then it's also there. And these have to be Y. Now, X and Y can no longer be this, so we do have to separate these. So all of that is forced. Now the question is, what is X? So if X is a singleton, it's also here, right? If X is the single, it's going to be just this thing, and then this would also be X. Now, if X is a domino, it doesn't have to move down. This could still be a single or be part of the domino. The same is going to go here. Hmm. Let me see. Somebody's going to go into this direction. Can I work this out without guessing? That's the question. Well, I can already see right away that if these are dominoes, X is going to have to extend over here and there. Those would be forced moves, which would force 2 singles here, which would be fine. Now, if X is single, we have a single, a single, a single, and a single. We'd have singles all over here, which would also be fine because we can do whatever we like in here, which seems like the wrong answer. Because if I say X is a single, this is a single, that makes this a single, this is fine. We can have 2 singles next to each other. There's nothing restricting this particular move. We'd have a single here. Now we have these 3 spaces. How do you fill these 3 spaces? Well, I could put a single and a domino, or I could put a single and a domino, or I could put 3 singles. All 3 of those are valid solutions that if X is a single, all 3 of those are solutions that don't affect the rest of the puzzle, meaning there is not a unique solution to this puzzle. So I'm going to say, using that X is a domino, and that Y is the single. We're going to say that, because that way we actually get a unique solution. So we need to have dominoes here. We'd also need a domino here which breaks the puzzle. So that can't be right. X is a domino. Alright, fine. We're going to say X is the single. This has to be a single, that's got to be a single. Then how do I force a move here? This is really dissatisfying. We can't do that either. I must have got something wrong with this logic. How is this logic wrong? Whatever this is, got to be the same over here. It'll be different on those 2. But this Y is going to be different over there. So we know this is different. We only have 2 possible regions. If the Y is the domino, got to have a domino here, which is going to cause a problem. Because we got to have dominoes here, which is impossible. But if we say the Y is the single and the X is the domino, now we have a different problem. Because we now need dominoes here. Yeah, I've definitely got something wrong, and this might not be the place to go. I'm gonna get rid of the note. Apparently this is wrong. Apparently this is not how you're supposed to do it. What if I just said... What if I just started with... I'm gonna guess because I don't respect this puzzle. We start with a single here. We have to have a domino here. We just have to have a domino there. Does that tell us anything? It doesn't tell us anything because the domino has a couple options. It doesn't have that option because this needs to be different. So it would have to go here. So it would give us this and that, which would give us another one of these, which is a problem because we need to have dominoes in these two spots. So let's say, all right, you got me. This is a domino. These are singles. This is single. Now these are all dominoes. That's a single. This seems to work just fine. I probably just missed that option. This is fine. This is fine. Yeah, this is an option. I just didn't see it. Just didn't see the option. Well, that's not very fun to not see one. Oh well. Not really much I can do if I just don't see the option. Minimum, all regions have an area of at least 3. What do we got? 25. Okay, well then we can't have the 12 touch any of these spaces here. So the 12 can't touch that space, that space, that space, or that space. That means the 12 has to touch those 3. It's going to. Oh, hold on. It's not going to touch this space either. Because if I touched every other space... Well, these all have a minimum of 3. That's another issue. So the 12s, we got 25 in here. It's going to leave 13 spaces left over. If each of these was its own space, that's going to give me 15. I can't do that. So these two have to be connected. That is guaranteed. These two are going to go together. But then the rest of these will not be going together. The rest of these will be their own regions. And so we're going to have 12 spaces taken with that. So I'm not sure how we're going to deal with this. What if I said... this. So this is too much. This is 13. Okay, so I have to have at least 3. So basically what I need to do... I need to figure out a way... These can be smaller. Alright. Let me think about this a different way. So these are all the same shape. These don't actually have to be the same shape. Because I need to fill 13 spaces, so these do have to be different. Nah, that's not it either. Okay, whatever's here is also there, is also there. Whatever is here is also here. Now, if I said all of these are their own unique unit that are 3 spaces large, because that's the minimum. Well, this isn't Gemini, but whatever. That's the amount of space we take. We have 10 left over. So we can't have them all be their own unit. So somebody's got to be the other unit. We can do this. But now we have 16 space. Oh, this is actually fine. This is totally fine. What I was worried about was we wouldn't have enough left over. This gives us just enough left over to make a single space over here. Okay, that's what they wanted me to do with that one. Interesting. Alright, let's get rid of some more of these 3s and 4s if we can find them. Minimum 7. Okay, we got 20. So it's 2 regions. That's really what it is. You can't make 3 regions, because 3 regions with a minimum of 7 has to have a minimum of 21 spaces. So I have to have 2 regions which are the same shape, which really isn't fun when we start having to do that. I have to make 2 big regions that are the same shape. So hopefully I can logically work out what I'm supposed to do with this. I would really love it to be that way. The Y is going to have to extend that direction. Now if the X extends this direction, the Y has to be here, the red, if green goes there. I don't think green can ever be here, because in order for green to be here, Y will never have enough space to take. Because if it's 2 of the same size, there's just 2 that are regions of 10. Which is why, I don't know why this is a rule. Why wouldn't we just say it's precision 10? I'm just trying to think, why would we make the rule like this? I'm just thinking as a designer, what reason is for this except to have this rule here make me do 1 extra step, which is to count the spaces. See, there's 20 spaces. You can't divide 20 by 3. You can't get 3 shapes of 7 into 20, so it's 2 shapes of 10, because it can't be 2 shapes of 7 and a 6, because they all have to be at least 7. So the red's got to be here, because if green goes there, even if it goes around this way, there's just not enough space for red. So that's for sure, which means this is also green. They've got to be the same shape, though, so I can't do something like this. Because, like, where am I going to get this shape from? But now, I guess red's got to go here, but I suppose treating this... Well, this doesn't work, because then what is it this? This isn't right at all. Because this has to go here. Oops. Like, it's just not the same shape. If I somehow were to get this piece here, how would I... Is there enough? Oh, I can get to 10. But now I can't make it... Like, this is the only way to do that. What is it with the middle difficulty puzzles where it just feels like I have to guess? Why does it feel that way? Why am I... Maybe I'm just not designed to make puzzle games or something. Maybe these people really are smart and I'm a fucking moron. But I look at this and go, it really kind of seems like the answer to this is just envision a 10-cell shape. And I cannot stress enough over the entire course of this series how much I think that's just a genuinely bad way to create a puzzle. All right, we know this. Because now I'm looking at this thinking, the only thing that it looks like I can do is guess what if I do this and see what happens, right? Now I know that this isn't going to work though. This is a bad example of that because this would force a red piece here, which is going to make this happen. Not going to be a thing. So red's got to take these 4 spaces. Now, in what way would green take them? These 4? Because that corresponds to here. But then I can't take this one with red very easily. Is it here? This might actually work. But I just had to see that shape. Like I wasn't... I don't know. Maybe you are watching this going, actually, seeing large shapes in my head isn't a problem. You just don't have that ability like a blind man getting really angry that he can't play a video game because he can't see what's on the screen. You know what I mean? Like that person, you know, what are you getting mad at? You just can't do this. Maybe that's it. Maybe I just do not have the mental capability of doing that. But it really looks like the correct answer in all of these cases is to just see the shape, which isn't very fun. It'd be more fun to me to work it out. And there's plenty of puzzles which do have me work it out, but these middle difficulty puzzles seem to rely on just seeing the whole shape at once, which is really, really boring. Minimum of 8. All right, give me a good puzzle, please. Minimum of 8. I'm a little worried because once you start having large shapes, the game seems to rely on you seeing them in their totality, which is bad design. I really wish they didn't do that. Okay, so we know we have to have at least 8. We have 25 here, so we can have 2 or 3 regions. That makes it a little trickier. So let's do some logic. We definitely have X and Y here. I'm going to make X the blue region. It's got to come out. We're going to say Y is red. Now, X could extend here or through there. We actually haven't narrowed anything down. We do know that whatever's in here is not going to be in those 2 spots. Whatever's here is not going to be those 2 spots, but there's no guarantee, for instance, that if I put X here, it's going to be Y. That looks like an X. It looks to be Y and a Z. And, because it could just be 2 Ys, so to speak. So what's going to go here? X is not going to go here. I know that much. Because in order for the X to get here, it can't touch this side. It would have to something like this. There's not enough space for the Y. Or it would have to go around quite a bit. And then we have to somehow make a shape that's the same on the other side. Now I could make 2 shapes that are 8 and then a shape that are the same, and then a 9 shape that doesn't match. And in fact, I think that's what I have to do. So math-wise, let me get rid of this. We got 25 spaces. 3 shapes have to go in here, or 2 or 3 shapes. If it's 2 shapes, the 2 shapes will not have the same size or shape, because one would be, the closer you get is to 12 and a 13, which means this Gemini would be a problem. So we do in fact need 3 shapes. It is required, and the only way to fit 3 shapes in is 2 8s and a 9. There's no other way, because they have to be at least 8. 3 8s makes 24, so we need one of the shapes to grow. So I think even better is I'm going to say here's an 8, yeah, here's an 8, and here's an 8. Trouble with that approach is that these, I don't have an obvious answer of where they grow to. So I've started with 8, 8, and 9, but I can't restrict anything from here. I can't say, well, red can't go down, it can't go up. It could go in any direction that I see, and this 8 could go in any direction. Unless, of course, the game designers are just dead set on me seeing this and going, oh, I know an 8 shape that fits in here. And I don't. I just don't know that. Now over here, we still have the X and Y conditions. Now I know for a fact that the red is not going to go into X. There is no way for red to even reach X without either touching this space, which makes it the Y shape, or blocking the Y shape, or massively over extending its reach. So I know X isn't red. Y can be red. We don't know it's not. Green can be Y. Y can be green. Y could also be the third color, the mysterious third color. Can it actually? Now that would be really tricky. If Y were a mysterious third color, then how would red can't get to X, so green would be X. Now how do you get this? It would have to go through here, right? Is there any way to go around without overloading? I don't think so. I think it overloads. So I think we can deduce that Y is not the third color. But the question is, do we have... I think X has to be the third color. Because here's the options. X is red, green, or blue. I'm going to make that third color. X can't be red, we know. If X is green, Y can't be blue. Because there's no way to connect these. Now, if X is green, Y can't be red either, because we have a Gemini and a Delta. So I guess this is the break-in. So X has to be the blue color. So Y is either red or green, but I don't know which one. But that means that we need blue to cover these deltas in some way, because we can't have red and green on opposite sides. We need to have blue on opposite sides. So it could even be something like this. Because now whatever we do, of course this X is too small, we need to take up 2 more spaces. And what do we do? Do we just fill it up here? I don't think that works. So that was just an example, which would be guessing. Another way would be something like this. This doesn't work. It's way too many pieces. So this is the point where I still feel like I'm sort of logically working it out, but the way I'm doing it is with massive guesses. And it's like, well, what if I filled these? I don't want to do that. I want to be able to know what I'm doing. So I know that blue's got to be on one side of this. But the thing is, if blue is here, there's nothing to say it's... Well, okay, if blue goes there, however it gets there, it can't be either of those pieces, so it can't be that one, so it would have to be both of these. Because if a red or a green goes here, it puts a blue in both of those. So if we know that, is there any way for blue to reach all of these squares without overloading? I don't think so, because blue has to be 9. It can't go through this direction because it will touch that. It can't be on both sides of the delta, so it would be required to come this way, and at minimum it's 10. That's overloaded. So I think blue cannot be here, which means this is red or green. Red would be tricky, but it can get there. So that means blue is both of these, which means it's also this piece. So the question is, does it come through this way? Probably not, because then how on earth would these other pieces get in? Oops. So blue comes around this way. So green is the most likely candidate for this, but I don't think it actually is green. I think at this point I just have to see it, and I think I just see it as this sort of thing, right? Well, this doesn't work, because now what goes here? I got an 8. Because I can't... Like, either of these is not the shape. So maybe it isn't. So yeah, I kind of have to see a whole shape. If I do it this way, then how do I make this work? Like if I take these spaces here, it reduces pressure, but that's 9. So how do I make... I can't make this shape because this is too many. There's no way for the green to go. Right, I can't do it. But if green goes up here, it like, we're just not gonna work. Because they got to be the same exact shape. This is where this gets really irritating because I just don't see an 8 shape in here. I see tetrominoes and pentominoes, not just because I've done those before, because there's so many puzzles that are specifically about tetrominoes and pentominoes that you eventually just learn the shapes. We haven't done 8 shape puzzles. And what I mean by that is we haven't done like 45 puzzles that are all about fitting 8 shapes in and figuring out what those shapes can be. So there's no prior knowledge to be built upon. It's all guesswork from here. This could also be wrong. It could just be that blue doesn't go here, but I think I've worked out, but I'm not 100% confident on that logic, that blue has to be here, because if it isn't, if blue isn't on this side, right, because you can have red and green, one of the sides has to be blue. So let's say, now if green is here, can green ever touch Y? Well, maybe. Trouble is like this sort of thing, like what's going on up there? Well, let's at least get red out. Let's at least make it sure it's not red. So if red is in this spot, it has to be in all of these spots. That gives us 7. So it could fill this, but then how would I say that this would have to go that direction. So I think it would take, but that, what? These are the same shape, I think. They're not minimums, but they don't break that. So, like, how would I make... If I took this shape up to give it 8, then where would this shape get its thing from? It wouldn't get it from anywhere. So, there's this. You think, okay, I'll just add a bit on the end. But, like, it's not going to fill because the blue doesn't work. So, I don't think it's possible to make that red. Now, if it's green and red is here, then how would I make this work? Like, I feel bad because I bought this game because I like Islands of Insight and I was pretty high on it to start, but I've run into a lot of puzzles which just are extremely unsatisfying. Just really unsatisfying to solve, and I don't know what you do about it because you can't please everybody, but there's a certain point I'm just like, it's not good enough to say they're optional because they're in the game. Don't put bad stuff in the game. Don't put bad stuff in the game and say, well, you only have to play the good stuff. Like, just don't put it in. What is this? What am I supposed to do? I don't feel like I'm being given the way to understand it. Let's go back. Because now the other problem is if you have a puzzle where people make logical inferences and end up in this position, now what I do is I doubt the logical inferences were correct, which means I no longer feel like I'm doing anything smart. I have to go back and do guesswork. So, like, you need it to be, like, I don't know, it's really tricky. If you want to make a good puzzle, it can't be too easy, it can't be too hard. You have to provide logical inferences. You have to make sure that brute forcing and guessing is harder than the logical inference you want someone to make, and you have to make sure that the correct logical inference is the easiest one to make. Like, you always have to do that, because any other any other thing you do makes the puzzle unsatisfying, even if it's solvable. I will solve this, it will happen, but I feel like it will end up being unsatisfying, just because of all these things that have happened. So I'm going to go back to the logical inference. These two have to be the same. This X has to be the third color. There's no way for red to reach without overloading or without... So if red reaches here and it doesn't go down the bottom area, it overloads. This also... this doesn't overload, but now green is trapped. So my only thing I can say here is red would come around the bottom. But if it touches this, it certainly can't touch that, so it would orphan that cell. Cool, we've ruled out red. Now, green can reach here just fine, but then this can't be red because red and green need to be the same shape, which would mean blue is trapped unless green takes a long way around, in which case it's overloaded. So this is correct. We've worked out blue, red, and green. Now these cells here, because there's deltas, red and green cannot be on either side, so blue has to be on one of the sides of these. So if blue were to take this one, we would need red and or green here, which would prevent blue from taking this spot. In fact, blue can't take it because, yeah, blue can't take either of those. So blue would have to be on these sides, and we already know that's bigger than 9, which doesn't give us enough space to complete the red and the green, because they got to be at least 8, right? This is all logical. So we have to have blue here. I don't see another way, unless... Can blue come around this way? Thing about blue coming around this way is now I still have to get blue up to 9. Because it can't be 7. It needs to be 2 8s and a 9. Could it be 2 9s and a... No, yeah, because 7 minimum is 8. 2 9s and a 7 would have been fine if the minimum was 7. But we need to add 2 more to this, and there are literally 0 spaces it can take. Any space it takes is going to block somebody. So this space blocks there, this space blocks there, that space blocks there, that space blocks green in. There's literally no spaces it can take. So I think we have to say it goes around this way. I guess I can think of it as what are the 2 spaces blue can take, and I think it's those 2. It can't take that one. Oh, it can take this space, though. Taking this space really makes it tricky to see how the thing could be done. Can't take that space. Can it? See, now I think I see the answer. Oops. Hold on, I got that wrong. Okay. Oh, no, it's not quite. This isn't quite it. It would be that. See, okay, that's terrible. I know. I don't see those types of things. Man, I'm not having good luck with the last couple of videos. This game it really is a lot like Islands of Insight. And again, I like Islands of Insight. I like this game. However, I can't say that either game truly achieves greatness, and it feels so much like the developers are incapable of understanding the viewpoint of a person who's not on their team. They need to take the game to a playtester and go like, you need to tell us to our face if this isn't fun. And it just seemed like no one was willing to do that. Maximum of 8. Okay, so we know. Okay, I was thinking minimum 8. I was like, can't do that with this. So 1 to 8. That's all we know. We got rows, windows. So we got to have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 regions. So this doesn't help me because max of 8. It's like, okay, cool. I could make 4 regions of 7 and then have a... Well, how do I get this in here without having... I have a region of 4, right? I think that actually is the clue. So if I have a region of 4, I have 32 left. Maximum of 8. There's 4 regions I need to do. Obviously, this isn't correct. Don't come at me with that. I have to do 4 more regions. And none of them can be bigger than 8. But if any of them are smaller than 8, there will be a larger than 8 region because 8 goes into 32 exactly 4 times. So that is the idea. So I could take this, that, or that, which is a problem because it means I don't know where the O shape goes. This is all I know. That's all I know down there. So I guess I can think about a region down here. It's going to touch that. And then the circle that touches is probably this. Is that 8? That's exactly 8. So this right here, I guess, is a logical deduction, but it's very much a, I think this just has to be the case rather than I know it. If I do something like this, this circle is trapped now. It can reach the square, but it can't be a size 8. So this is a possible state of affairs as well as this. Nah, this is the same problem. This circle is trapped up here. So I have to hit... I have to hit this circle. That's the only way to do it. I think that's the inference I need to make. That's got to be one of them. This has got to be one of them. Is this 8 spaces? This is 8 spaces. Now this one's got to touch that and get 8 spaces, which feels like we want to grab all the edges. Oh, this one's got to just be 4, so this has got to fill in. Huh, okay. That one's fine. I feel that's a middling puzzle. I feel like I actually did some work on that and figured some stuff out, but it still was very much just see the thing. There's also the issue that once it's hard. Like, it's really hard to make a good game, and I will not fault the developers for messing up. But once you make a mistake anywhere, it ruins the illusion. So, like, I will love the game until I find one bad puzzle, at which point I feel free to criticize it for things I wouldn't have criticized it for before. If I had not run into this area specifically, I don't think I would have had nearly as much criticism for this game if this area had just been cut. Because I would have run into some challenging stuff, but I would have had more faith in the developers because I didn't see something as genuinely awful as this. And because I've seen that, I think I no longer have a viewpoint of the developers as infallible beings who create good art. I now have a viewpoint of them as incredibly flawed and incapable of judging their own work correctly. So if I ever run into the slightest bit of hesitation in a puzzle, instead of me thinking, oh, I need to learn more, my first thought is now the developers fucked the puzzle up. And the reason I have that thought, again, is because this exists. If I didn't have this, I would just go, well, that puzzle wasn't my favorite, but I think the developers still made a good puzzle. I no longer have that thought. That ship has sailed, the first impression has been made, and I can no longer say that this is a great game. I can say it's a fun game, I can say there's a lot of good puzzles in it, but I cannot put it in the upper echelon of puzzle games, because my trust for the developers is broken. So, we know for sure that this guy's got to be at least 3, which is going to be the same shape as this. Now, we also know that this is more than 3. Because if it's just 3, we have to put an elbow piece here. That ain't going to fly. So we have to put at least an L shape. And we can't have a C shape because we can't put a C shape here. So we know, I'm actually going to use my traditional L-shaped color. We're going to put an L shape in here as well. So it's either going to go that way or it's going to go that way. We don't know. We unfortunately do not know that yet. Now here, we can't have an L shape, which is the only way to do 4. It would be an L shape. We can't do that. So we could have a 3, it's an elbow, or we could have a C shape 5-piece. But the trouble is there's no C shape we can put here. So that does force us to put an elbow at this spot. Now, we do have a lot of options with this piece. We can make a single straightaway very easily. We can make a straightaway of 4 quite easily as well. And then we can make a 5 shape without too much trouble. So I'm going to hold off on this one. And let's look up here. We can do a straightaway of 3, which is broken quite easily by going around this corner, or just making a longer straightaway. If we do a straightaway of 4, we would have to block these 2, and it's pretty easily done. Or just even that is fine. Actually, this isn't as useful as I thought it would be. How about here? This has to be straight. So this can't be blocked there because it can't. Okay, guess what this is we can't go around a bend. Since we can't go around a bend, we have to go at least up once. So if this L goes around the corner, that doesn't do anything. If I were to say make this 5, we would have to bring this up at least 2 more spaces, which would force the L around this corner, and we'd be in trouble here. So I guess we can say confidently, we can't go to 5. We go to 4. This has to go 1 more space up, but we could still bring the L this direction, or this direction, put an L to the piece here. We're not blocked that way, so we actually don't know. We just know that it doesn't go to 5. And so, because of that, we can't put a wall here. So these two have to go together. So if we put these two together, we could make a straightaway here without really blocking anything. Or here. If I make this an L shape, well, I mean, this just is fine, so I don't think I've got that settled. I can't make it this type of 5. I can't make it this type of 5. In fact, we can't have this piece be a 5. Can't have this piece be a 5. So we know those. It's not super helpful. Let's see. If I put an L here, no. Oh, it goes here. Doesn't seem to matter initially because I have to figure out what goes over here. If I make a 3, if I make a 5, let's say, this has to be at least 3. Gotcha. This can't be 5 spaces. Because if this is 5 spaces, the minimum is 3, we have a bend. There can't be a bend on this one unless it goes all the way up. Oh no, that just is fine. That's just totally fine. I can make it 5. Damn. Can it not be 4? It can totally be 4. 3, we can do whatever we want with that. So we don't learn anything about that. We know we can't bend here. But it doesn't mean that there's a wall here. Because we could have a separate piece down there and just extend this up. Like so. Feels like there's something I gotta do here. Because I could still just do that. It's fine. Feels like there's too many options. And once again, I'm getting that niggling in my brain. Because normally, when I was first recording videos, I'd approach this and go, wow, this puzzle is smart. The developers have outsmarted me. I'm going to learn how to solve it. And now I can still feel that bit of doubt in my head that goes, maybe they designed this puzzle badly, and the reason you're struggling is because of that. And I don't want to have that thought. I want to have the thought that the puzzle is smart, and I need to get on this guy's level. And I don't have that thought 100% because the game is broken trust. That's why you don't bloat your games. Islands of Insight has the same problem. They're so convinced they have so many good ideas, they don't cut any of them. They keep the bad ideas in the game, and so the person playing no longer trusts the developer because this just might be one of the bad puzzles. And I don't think it is. I don't think it's a bad puzzle. And I don't want to think it's a bad puzzle. I want to think it's a good puzzle. So I want to solve it. God damn it, I'm going to do that. I'm not going to fake it. I guess, okay, let's look over here. This is an obvious one I've missed because I was focusing over here. This L can't go this direction because now we're blocked. So the L has to go this direction. We've got that settled. This makes this an L. It's going to have to go around the corner. It's going to have to, this is the only corner. This is now an L shape. So we have to make that 4. This has to move up and down. There we go. Good. Good puzzle. Okay, I just have to have a little more faith. This right here is going to bend, and it's going to be all 5. We don't really have an option here, because there's only 5 spaces left. So we know we need to make a bend of 5 here. So it is going to go around this corner, and this is going to go around that corner. Okay, we've got it. Now this 3 could extend any of these, and it would still be fine. It would still be fine. In fact, a single 1x5 here would never break the deltas here, because you can't put a 1x5 there anyway. So I don't know what the delta's doing here. What is the delta doing here? If we remove these deltas, all of the logic we've done up to now would be the same. What are they doing? Maybe there is something we'll see later. I've got 5 spaces here, but I can cover those. I've got 4 spaces here. So I can't bring the L all the way this direction, so I have to bring it up. This might be what it is. This might be the logic. Okay, I figured it out. That's why the deltas are here. That's why, because now we know that's the end of that. And we know that this has to be another 4 piece like that. All right, we're getting somewhere. This now can no longer be a 5 piece like this because where deltas are broken all day. There's a single piece there. Yeah, there's a single piece there. This one, we can't make a 3. We have to make a 4 piece. And then we just make 4 piece up here. So yeah, that's a good puzzle, but like there was that brief moment of doubt because again, I'll say it probably every video from now on. Trust is broken. I now approach, you know what it is? Like sometimes you're playing a game and you get to a part that's hard and you feel frustrated and you have the choice between feeling like the game is just a challenge that I need to overcome or feeling like these devs are terrible and they're wasting my time and I hate this game. And it's a matter of like, do you trust the devs enough to play through and try to figure it out, or do you immediately go to GameFAQs.com? Sorry, I'm old. We used to go there to get our answers. Do you immediately go there and look up the answer online? And like, you look up the answer online if you just can't be bothered, or if you just don't think the devs are good enough to like respect with your time. How on earth am I going to get this shape in here? I'm just looking at this shape. I think this is with the crux of the puzzle right away. Minimum of 3. Okay, great. Like, how can I make this shape? This is one way. This is not one way. Minimum of 3, baby. We can't do this. There's going to be a single. Okay, so we know that's not it. This is one way. Now, is there another place I could put this? No, because if I don't extend all the way to the left and then either up or down and make the ring there, I will crash into another piece. And I can't go all the way that way. So this is, in fact, the only way I can make this ring. It gives me that. This is a nice break. I mean, it's on the easier side. It's only 4 difficulty, so the break-in was right in front of me. But, you know, sometimes I would just prefer, like, if your puzzle's a little too easy, but at least the logic is consistent, I'll be happy. It's a fun puzzle. If the logic is just a little bit out of reach, or sorry, if the break-in is just a little bit out of reach, then you end up going down a terrible rabbit hole. Like, I'd rather just have the puzzle be a little too easy than feel like I don't have a logical way out. I don't think I can move this to the right at all. Yeah, it's going to be that. That's required. This guy can't move left because what do we do here? So we're definitely doing that. How about you, my friend? This fella can't move left all the way because we're there, but it could move left 1 space. Can't move down? You can move, yeah, it fits right in there. We can't move up all the way. Well, I was thinking of it as the beginning of the arm, where this is the elbow. The elbow can't be there. The elbow can be here. Yeah, we have too many options. Too many options, we don't know. Here's an interesting one. We need a minimum of 3. We got to bring whatever's here out this far, but it can't touch the L because we'll never make that shape. So this L shape has to go up like so, and it gives us a separate L right there. This S shape is going to be quite restricted because we can't move it down, because then we would be forced to make an orphan cell. We can't move it left because it goes right into the ring. We can't move it left this far because it's going to leave orphan cells below it. So it's got to move up like so, and it gives us a separate L piece underneath it. These 2 elbows can touch each other for all I care. It's legal now. How am I going to make this N shape? This N shape is either basically going to be like horizontally aligned or vertically. Vertically is not going to work because you need 4 spaces. We don't have it. So it's horizontal, which means it either goes this far and bends, leaving orphan space, or this far and bends, leaving just enough space for a nice elbow piece. This piece is going to touch the L, and then it's not going to bend here. It's got to bend there, which does force the big elbow in to be this particular corner. Great, we figured it out. Now, if these 2 elbows touch each other, we have an orphan cell, so we can't have that happening anytime. So we're going to do it this way. It has to be this way, otherwise we create orphan cells everywhere else. So we've got a lot of that. Minimum of 3, but no maximum. So what do we do with this T-shape? Probably should have looked at this T-shape earlier, because the T-shape can't extend to the right more than 1 space, so it has to extend vertically this way or vertically this way. So it takes that space. Now this way creates an orphan cell, and that's illegal. They'll arrest you for that. So we basically just need to make a Y shape here. And then the L has to be arranged this way. At this point, the puzzle is close enough to done. We can just do it. See, that's a good puzzle. I like that. It's not a hard one. It's a good one, though, because, like, you could see how I could look at an area of the puzzle, and with some, you know, sometimes it took a little bit of work, sometimes it was immediate, but I could say, this is clearly what I have to do. That's what I want in a puzzle. Even a hard puzzle can never deviate from being able to look at a spot and figure out what you're supposed to do. Minimums? Okay, minimum of 2, so I can't do singles. Okay. Well, let me just start off. We have to have minimums of 2, so these all have to be. These all have to be. This all has to be. This, so these have to be minimum like that. And I'm just gonna fill in what I know for the dead ends. There. Okay, so in this corner right here, we've got a tetromino, or not tetromino, a triomino, which could be a tetromino. So it's either a T-shape or it's a solo triomino here. It can't be a T-shape because we can't make a T-shape below it. So I'm going to color different to say I've done this one. This is a completed piece, which also has to be here. Now, we have to have something different down here. Every piece has to have at least 2, so we got to go here. It either is going to remain a domino, or it's going to bend like this. Because it can't be 3, because that'd be the same as that. Well, the trouble with bending is, of course, we have the Gemini right there, which you probably saw immediately. So we have 2 dominoes here and a domino there. We cannot have a domino here, so we have to extend it, but we also can't keep it as a triomino because it's delta here. So we got to move it over to the left. At least one forces a domino here and a domino here, which means that this is a nice V shape, which is going to force a V shape here. And it's going to hold on, there's a T shape up here we got to fill in. And then we have a nice V shape here as well. Dominoes are there. So different shape is easy. We can't possibly make a V shape here. So these deltas are probably here just in case you started the puzzle at a different location. This has to be different. It has to extend at least 3, which means that X extend 3. We got to have this be the same piece. It can't be a T shape over here. So we've got ourselves a triomino and then a T shape underneath. Now this right here has got to be a triomino. It's got to be extended from here because it can't be this way. This has to be an L shape, but it's just bent. And then here's the triomino. That's pretty good. I mean, that's an easier one. I don't know. I guess I just feel bad because I'm being mean to the game developer here. I know I'm being mean to the game developer, but I'm getting frustrated. But I guess I'm just glad, even though these are the easy puzzles, to have things where I don't feel like I'm being led to guess at all. And the other puzzles that I'm being led to guess on, if there is a logical path that doesn't lead to guessing, that path is harder than guessing is. So you can't have your puzzles do that. So back to here, range 3 to 5. And this is what we have. So we got our 3s, we got our 4s, we got our 5s. How am I going to do this? The 5 has to escape this direction, because if it doesn't, we're locked in with 4. So 5 is there, that solves the 3. This 5 has to escape this direction. This 4 now moves at least that far. It could connect to this 4, or it could be its own thing up here. The 5 could move in there. It's just fine. This 5 has to extend this way. So the 4's done. That's done. The 5 now can't be in this spot. It's going to move up. Could move up one more. Either way, this 5 has to take the cell, because if not, we don't have enough space. The 5, this one can't move there, so it does have to move down. Who's going to go in this cell now? This cell can't be taken by this 5 at all, and if it's not this 5, it's only a domino, which you can't have. This one could be either 5, we don't know. This 5 can't extend downward into the cell because we leave an orphan here, so we've got to block it. So who goes in this cell? It can't be a new region because it'll be just a domino. So it's got to be this 5 right here, which is going to force this 5 in, going to force that one in. Great. Got to have at least 3s on every region. This 3 has to move in then. If I make these 2 force, they can't connect anymore because that's now over cell. This has to come out. So this is how it's going to be. Great. Perfect. Good logic. All right, we're just doing easy puzzles. It's fine. Everything is at least 4, so I'm using orange when I don't know, but I know we've got to extend these out. That's as much as I know. All right, these are 5s. These are 6s. Got them. All right. If we were to extend either of these dominoes into this space, we're screwed. The reason we're screwed is you can't make a 3 region up here. It would have to touch this region, but then it would also be on both sides of a barrier. Therefore, this is its own region of 4 right here. These has to extend out, which means that's got to extend out. We don't know if this region's done, do we? Now we do. I think this is required. I think we have to do this. I don't see any other way around this. I think this 5 is going to connect here, because if it doesn't, we don't have enough space. So the 5's got to extend there, and then it can't extend into any of these cells. It has to go down so that we have a 4 space there. This 6 is then going to extend up this way. Whatever is in this space has to come out and then not touch that one. So 6 is going to have to take all of these, and that one, that's the 6. Now this has to extend out, and then it can't extend left or right. It could go further. We don't have a maximum. We can do whatever we like with this piece, but it does mean the 6 extends out. We do have this shape. This shape is required. The 6 has to extend one more. That's done. Now this 5 cannot be in whatever is that space, so the 5's got to come out like so. 5 can't extend into there because then we don't have a 4 shape in there. So 5 is done that way. Feels like we can just do, hold on, let me change it so we don't have reds next to each other. We can do that. Oh, no, we can't do that. We have to do a different shape. We have to do this shape. That's right. Now we do a blue shape here. That's too small. Purple takes that. Red takes that. There we go. $26, $36. So I have to have one range 26. I could have 5 dominoes, but I could have bigger things than that. So what are the obvious places to put things? Is there any way to get the 26 in there? Yeah, there actually is. It would be this way. It'd be tricky to get some other stuff. This would be tough because now I can't get into here. If I did this here, I'd have to bring... Actually, how do I get blue into this area if it has to go? If blue doesn't come through here, like if blue touches this ever, then... I don't know, we can do it around this corner. Right? Like, we can do this kind of stuff. We got here 24. So where could I put more pieces? 25. It's that guy right there. So I can't put a piece anywhere else. So I don't think this is really, this feels like a guessing puzzle again. I don't like that. No. I have to trust the developers. I have to do it. It's just not possible anymore. Because anything I'm doing here is like, well, what if I block this? What would happen? I don't want to ever say what would happen. Anytime I put in a move that looks like a guess, the objective is to break the puzzle because I know this won't work for one reason or another. If I just put it in and keep going until there's a break, that is a guess. That's always a guess. Never, can't do that. So what do I know from this? Do I know that this is blue? If it is blue, it's got to come up here, and then we can't go there. We would have to make a piece. This is guess. This is a guess. This is what I'm doing is I'm guessing. Okay. I'm arranging 5 dominoes. Or I could have a triomino and a couple triominoes and things. I don't know. I think a guess is the correct way to do this. I think that's actually the correct way to solve the puzzle. What's the logical break? Okay, maybe I assume this? No, that's assumption. You can't assume. The only reason I would assume is I know that this breaks the puzzle, so I'm going to do this. That would break it. We can't do that. I don't know that. I would only know if this doesn't work after filling in the whole puzzle and finding it doesn't work. Same with this, but I feel like this is a good guess to start with because it takes out so many pieces, right? Like if I take this piece, if I say we don't have a blue piece here, if I said there's an orange piece, and then I maximize the blue pieces here, I would have a blue piece there as well. I would have to have orange here, and it wouldn't go down that way. I'd move it this way. I'd have blue here, orange there, but then orange block, we wouldn't have blue coming into there. I think that's where it is, unless I do this. Like, I want to have blue in here somewhere. But I feel like this is really just not going to work. Yeah, I don't think that's gonna work. So I don't think this, but again, because it's a guess and there's so many guesses happening, I cannot rule it out. So what do I do to rule this out? And this is another case where I lose trust in the developers, because you might look at this puzzle and go, and let's say you know the answer, you know a logical step. I'm looking at it going, the logical step is harder to find than the guess. And that's bad design. The guess always needs to be harder than the logical step. Okay, where is it? This is so open, it just feels like figure it out. If I said this is blue, it's going to come out this way. This got to be orange. It's still guessing, but at least let's just build it from there. But now I have options. I need to do this so that there isn't an option so I can figure out the answer. If I move this up, this is now 2 guesses. Guess number 1 was this is blue, which led to this, but now guess number 2 is this. So I have 2 guesses in. I'm 2 guesses deep. Bad design. Bad. This is bad. See, and if I hadn't seen the match area, I wouldn't say bad. I would just be frustrated with the puzzle, but I would still trust the developers. But as I've said 10 times now in this video alone, I do not trust these people. I do not trust them anymore. I don't think they're good game developers. I also don't know this is a domino. There's nothing that says it has to be a domino. It just has to be a minimum of a domino. That's the only thing I know. So this still doesn't tell me anything. I'm still guessing all day long on this puzzle. All day on this puzzle. Here's a different way to guess, is to put this in. So now this has to go here. This would do that. So no. Okay, if this is blue, we can't move the blue in this direction because it would force us to move the blue that direction, because we would not be able to go through there and we wouldn't have any of these spaces. We'd run out of space. So this would be the path through. Great. Now what? Now we're 1 guess deep now. We've ruled out the other 5 guesses. What is the other thing? Now, how do we get blue on either side of this? Blue can no longer be here now because it would come around that way. So we would at least mark that. I can mark these. That's a big guess. But I don't want to have bigger than dominoes. I now have 2 dominoes. I'm going to put 3 more in this piece. And now one of them's got to go here. I should probably do it this way. Does this just do it? No, it doesn't just do it, but it's 26. How would I do it differently? How would I do this differently? So again, we're in guess land. I guess I could also think of it as, and this is still guessing, what if every domino has to touch 2 walls? So this domino does not work because this one isn't eliminating a possibility, because I can't put blue on 2 sides of a thing. So if blue is on one side, orange is on the other, and I want to minimize. So this, for instance, puts an orange on 2 different walls, so I can put blue elsewhere. So this is a possible place. This is a possible place for orange because it cuts out a lot of different walls. Of course, this potential for orange then forces me to do orange here. I could do it here and there. Nope, see, now we have this problem again. This blocks that in. So I don't think that's what it is. This is a possibility, which puts blue in here, which does put that as a thing. That could be one, which means this is orange. No, we don't want that. We wouldn't want it with this because this puts blue here, but blue would also be there, which means orange is here, and this orange isn't going to touch another wall. So I'd want it to be more like this. No, this doesn't work either. This is a thing you can do. That's no good. I don't think this thing I thought of, oh, everything that's going to touch two walls is going to work either. So if I put a domino on this side of this wall and moved it down, right? Now this is blue, so I'd want this to be orange, right? Because I'm trying to make dominoes only, no tetrominoes. Now, this doesn't touch two walls, so it's not good. This touches the two walls here, but then I'd have to put something there, and then I'd want like that. But then I still have problems here. Does this? No, this doesn't work. I don't get anything down there. Yeah, I'm still guessing. I'm still very... why is it always the 4s? Why is it always the 4s that feel like guesswork? And because I no longer trust the developers, I'm more tempted to press this button. Because normally I wouldn't press this button. Normally I wouldn't even bother. Because, like, I will figure it out. But now I'm like, I'm not going to enjoy figuring this out. This is terrible. And I only think it's terrible because I don't trust these people. Gosh. Now, I'm not a famous YouTuber at all. Never will be. I don't think the developers will ever watch my streams. But part of me wishes they would, just so they can see what it's like when somebody who isn't them tries their game. And they realize, oh hey, maybe I should consider this before I put this stupid shit in my game. Okay, how am I going to do this one? This is a puzzle I would have loved if I hadn't lost trust in the developers. I think I would have loved this puzzle if I still trusted them. I don't trust them. Like, it's to the point now where I'm going to finish Islands of Insight because I'm in on it. I like it. I generally like this game. I'm going to finish it. But I think if they release a third game, I'm going to skip it. I think I'm going to skip a third game made by the studio because they're so far up their own ass when it comes to puzzle design. So what do I do here? Maybe I think of it as if there's 10 pieces, there's 10 walls touched. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. I've touched every one of these walls once. So I do have to touch this one once. So what if it's that, which means I've touched that there. But then it would have to... What if it's... This doesn't work. Now I need another triple that touches all these other walls. It doesn't. It's not going to happen. It's just not good. I feel like the developers really don't understand what a 4 difficulty is. Because every 1 to 3 basically is simple stuff. 6 and 7 is advanced logic. 3, 4, and 5 can just be this, where I'm looking at the puzzle going, I don't know where to start. I don't see a break-in, and the puzzle designer is going to be up their own ass and, well, there is a break-in if you just, try to do it. Like, no, your break-in needs to be easier than a guess. It always needs to be easier than a guess. Guessing is easier here. That's what I'm tempted to do. I have to just guess, what do I do? Because I see 10 walls total that aren't the edge. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Every one of those walls needs at least one orange piece on it, which means either these two are taken or these two are taken. Isn't that a logical step? Isn't that the break-in? I'm still guessing. I'm still guessing. Because I don't know which two it is, and then I'm having to work out from there. If I grabbed these two, it wouldn't be this piece. It would be these two. Since it's not this one, it's got to be these two. Now, how do I get all of... How do I get these two now? How do I get that one? It can't ever be... Well, okay, if we're going to use that logic, this has to be blue. Because if it was orange, it would not touch two walls. It's this... Fucking... So, this guess I made has to be right, but I don't know. The thing is, I'm looking at this, putting this in. Even on hard puzzles, when I solve them, if I start putting pieces in, it's because I know that's what I'm supposed to do. I do not know that with this puzzle. This one would have to move up, so it touches two walls. This has to move up so it touches two walls. Now, we wouldn't want to move this over because it doesn't touch any walls, so we'd move this up. So we've got to touch two walls with this. Means that's blue. Both of these are blue. Then I touch... This would touch two walls, but then that can't touch. So it would have to touch... This doesn't work. this logic I'm using doesn't work. This, if I do it that way, I need to put 10 pieces in that touch walls that need to be at minimums of 2. It's got to be something like this. Like, this is an option. One of these two's got to be orange. If it's this one, it goes down. All right, let's try that. We're going to try and solve the puzzle from here. This stupid fucking puzzle. Well, now I'm in trouble because this got to be blue. So blue's got to be here because otherwise we have orange not doing its thing, and now we have orange doing that. That doesn't work with this sort of way of doing it. So therefore, orange is here. Great, awesome. Now blue is there, which means blue is also here, orange is here. We have this problem. So this logic is wrong. Because now these don't touch the walls the way they're supposed to. This corner is another one I could look at. If this corner is here, it would be this piece, which means these would be blue, which means this isn't orange because it won't touch another wall. It's got to be here, which means blue's going to touch that wall. It means blue's going to touch this one as well. So we're back to this problem as before. Whereas what do we do here? Got to make orange there. It's got to move that way. What do we do with this particular corner? I've got to touch those two. I can't touch those two. I can touch 3 by doing this, but now I need a place to do 3 walls. Is this one? No, it can't be that, because I've touched this one. There's nowhere to do it. So maybe it's the other way. Maybe it's touching 3 walls here. I don't fucking care anymore. Then I need another place to touch 3. Is this the one you touch 3? Does this work? See, this is a guess. This is not, I don't like that. I really don't like that. And I've said it a bunch in the video. You've heard it. I will continue to say it because I really, really want to hammer this home. I would have liked this puzzle if I hadn't lost trust in the developers. If I hadn't lost trust in them, the trust will never come back. Once it's lost, it's lost. I will never trust them again. I will always go into every puzzle thinking that the instant I come up upon the slightest resistance, it's because they fucked the puzzle up and not because I just have to learn something. Yeah. If I'm brute forcing your puzzle, you blew it. You need to redesign your game. What are you doing? All right, we got a minimum of 4. Well, how many? We got 36 spaces. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Well, they are just 4s. So what's this rule doing? That's another thing that's irritating me about this game. It started off as a little quirk. They have so many rules. There's like 30 different rules in this game. And it's all very clever, and we're all so proud of you for putting the rules in. But there's so many different ways to express them that it becomes a question of why did you choose this one? Because this rule, minimum of 4, there's 36 spaces, there are 9 circles. The rows windows rule means we need 9 regions. 9 times 4 is 36. What is this rule doing? If you had instead made a rule that says every region needs to be exactly 4, as in a precision rule, it would be the same exact fucking puzzle. Nothing would change. The only thing this rule is doing is making me take one extra fucking step to figure out if it is 4s and more or just 4s. That's all. I have to do one little step before the puzzle starts. That step is fucking boring. If you're gonna give me a minimum like this, if this is the rule, the expectation going in is there will be larger pieces. And because I was able to work out very quickly that there are not larger pieces, what the fuck did you make this rule for? Why didn't you put this in the precision area? Oh, sure, if you tell me that every piece has to be 4, then I don't get the glorious joy of working out that 36 divided by 9 is equal to 4. What the fuck are you doing? What the fuck are you doing with this game? What the fuck is wrong with you? This is not how you design puzzles. You just put an extra step. It's like, how do you get into the locked chest? I'll grab the key. Ah, but in order to get the key, first you have to answer this math problem. It's like, you're annoying me. Give me the fucking puzzle. The fun part is figuring out how to fit a bunch of tetrominoes in here. That's the fun part, and you put this shit in the way. God damn it. So tired of this shit. All right, let's figure out the fours. Now we know tetrominoes, we've had plenty of tetromino puzzles, which are all very nice. Now the trouble is with this circle, I thought I could restrict some stuff, but the trouble is this circle can go all the way to the left and just take all of these. I suppose I should start with this spot. Which circle can we possibly take from down here? It's got to be only 4, because we worked out very quickly that this rule is a joke. It's not a minimum puzzle, it's a precision puzzle that says minimum because the developers are up their own ass about how clever they are. Stupid ass puzzle. This has to be an I. God damn it. That's an easy deduction to make, and you're just putting a bunch of obfuscating bullshit. I'm going to yell about it this whole time. I'm going to make this video 7 hours long so I can complain about this. What is wrong with you? All right. In here, we got to touch one of these. I don't know which one it is. This guy now can only touch. We got an eyepiece here. Now, this one's got to be an eyepiece. So we do, in fact, have an L here. This one can touch that circle, so it doesn't matter. This one can only touch that circle. There's 2 ways that it can touch. If I make an L shape, we break the puzzle. This is logic. I would normally love this logic if you just gave me a precision puzzle. If you just said precision, I would do this puzzle and we'd all be happy. All right. This has to be an S piece because an L piece means this shape can't touch anything. So S piece goes here. This one has multiples that can touch. This one can only touch that piece. So we have an L shape here and an I shape there. We have an I shape, we have an O shape. God, stop ruining my fun. At this point, I'm only continuing the game just because I started a series and I feel like I'm somehow a weak person if I quit halfway through. I'm going to go all the way through it. But I'm tired of games made by, the 2 games this developer has made, where like 70% of the game is really, really fucking good. And I love it, and I'm willing to give the devs money, and in fact, I think they undercharge for their games, right? Because that 70% is so good, you should buy their game. There you go, that's my review. Buy this game, give them your money. But then there's 30% of the game that's bafflingly awful, and they just leave it in. They just leave it in the game. Why would you? Okay, I'm just getting mad now for no reason. Range 2 to 3. There's a puzzle. Okay, cool. 2 to 3, mingle shape. Now I know there's different shapes, right? That's what the rules should be doing. They're telling me how to solve the puzzle, not, hey, before you solve the puzzle, figure out if this rule is actually trolling you. Ha ha ha. God damn. So now I got dominoes, triominoes, and then elbow pieces. I just got to figure out which one I'm doing. So these can't be the same. These can't be the same. These can't be the same. All right. Down here, we have a domino piece. I can work that out pretty quickly because it can't touch another piece, and it can't bend because it blocks that in, and we can't have single pieces. So we got to have a domino to start, which means this cannot be a domino. It has to be a triomino, and it has to be a straightaway because if it's an elbow, it blocks that in. Mingle shape is going to prevent us from doing that. Now this guy has got to be, oh, we have multiple options here. This space has to touch a rose window, so it's got to be a straightaway. We don't know which direction yet. Actually, we do. It can't move left. That's mingle shape, baby. There we go. Let's see. If we have a mingle shape constraint, and there's only 3 possible shapes, if we ever have a corner with 2 shapes in it, we know what the third one is. There we go. Simple deduction. That means this has to be an elbow, because it's the only thing that's left. This corner here, we have to have an elbow piece here, which can't move left because we block that in. So we've got to move up and then left, which gives us a domino shape here. Mingle shape corner rule. I guess I'll call it that, like the mingle shape corner rule. That's a terrible name for it, but this piece here is like on a corner of 2 different shapes. We only have 3 shapes available, so it has to be the third remaining shape. Gives us a domino there. This piece can't be a domino, but also can't be an elbow because it'll touch that elbow. There we go. This piece has a bunch of options, so does this and that and that. This one doesn't. This is only a domino because it can't be a 3, a triomino, and it can't be an elbow because it'll block this piece in. Therefore, this can't be a domino. It can't be an elbow because it blocks that piece in. So this is a straightaway triomino, which makes this, by that corner rule, an elbow. I like this puzzle. Yes, I love this. Is good. It's easier, but it's good. That also makes me a little bit suspicious if the only good puzzles are easy ones. Although there's probably some hard ones that I would have thought were good if I trusted developers, so I probably shouldn't go down that logic train too far. Down here, we can't have an elbow. It's not going to go anywhere. There's nowhere for it to bend. It's got to be just a regular domino. Gives us our corner rule, elbow here. Now this space has to touch a rose window. Which one's going to touch? If it touches that, it makes it an elbow, which we can't do. So it's got to be straightaway going up. This piece has to... this piece, either straightaway up here, that's mingle shape problem, elbow here, which is a mingle shape problem, or elbow that way, which is fine. This one can be anything. Our corner rule gives us a regular domino here, which gives us an elbow in that space, and it gives us, in this space, a straightaway, because a domino would extend to that spot. So now we have to... Nope, I have messed up. I have messed up, because now what do I put here? Oh, no, I'm fine. I'm fine. For some reason, I thought the domino was touching that. It is not. Domino's here. And that gives us a domino there, and we're good. Thank God, a good one. This is a long video. I'm making you sit through it. I'm making you listen as I crash out over this game. If this game was just a bad game, I don't think there'd be a problem, because I would just not play it. But if you have a good game that does this shit to me, I get really frustrated, because it's like, I don't know. The same reason I don't get mad if I see like a total stranger being an asshole in public. I just avoid them. But if it was like my partner, I would be really upset that somebody I trusted was behaving this way. All right, maximum of 4. Mingle shape, area number. So our mingle shape is going to force this to be larger than a 1. It's also going to force it to be larger than a 2, right? And larger than... how am I going to do this one? How do I get out of this one, my friends? The 2 can't move up. Let's just say that, because that makes 2 of those. So we can't do that. 2's got to move down. How do I make this one? Maximum of 4. Mingle shape. Oh, mingle shape, not area thing. I don't have to worry about the areas. I can make this a 3. Here's why. This can't be a 2, because it's not going to touch that. This can't be a 4, because it's going to touch... this 4 can just be a different shape. It can't be a 3 unless this is an elbow, which it can be. Darn it. Okay, I can't rule it out. I can only rule these out. Let's see. We have a similar issue down here? Not quite. I know the 3 can't bend. We can't put a wall here, because if we did that, then this 2 would move up and we'd have a mingle shape violation. So this 3 does have to move up at least 1 space. But now it's got to move up both spaces, because otherwise we have another mingle shape violation. 2's got to move down. So yeah, single here is fine. This has to be larger than a 1 and larger than a 2. So the 2 can't move down. The 2's got to move up. So the space that's in here could be a single. That's the thing. Could also be a 3 because it's bent this way. No, this can't be a 3. Because if it's a 3, then where does this one go? It has to move up, and we have a problem. In fact, this can't be a 4 either. Because, excuse me, this piece has to move over at least these 3 spaces. This has got to move down. So if this moves down, we can't have a 3 here. We can't have a 4 here because it can't connect to the 3. So we do, in fact, have to have a single and have the 3 move down like so. So we can't have this be a 3 because now we have a straightaway here. So this has to be a 4 straightaway piece. This 4 has to bend. This 3 goes up. This 2 goes down. 4 is like so. Now we have this puzzle solved. Lovely puzzle. Delightful logic. Range 4 to 6. Mingle shape polyomino. Since they have range of 4 to 6, is there any universe where this is not the cross? So if that wasn't the case, I can't have, for instance, this be the cross, because now these 3 are touching without being a part of it, which we can't do because of mingle shape. So we'd have to have the cross like so, right? Now this looks like it immediately causes 8 gazillion problems. So for instance, we have a mingle shape violation here. This piece doesn't fit anywhere. This piece can technically fit. This piece doesn't fit anywhere. This piece fits in, but then hems that in. So we can't do that. So I think we are required to make this the cross. Between 4 and 6. Where do we take it from here? This C looks vulnerable. For instance, we can't do this because we have a lot of orphan cells when we do that. We also can't ever push it up this direction because it will create an orphan cell. So it could be like so, except it can't because now we create a problem here. So it can't be sideways. We can't have a C this way or the other way. It's got to be facing up. So it's either here, which is going to break this P shape. So I think the C shape has to be here. Is that right? Is there any way? No, this shape here immediately blocks those two in. Therefore, we have to have it like so. And now this shape can't move left. So it moves up, and then since we can't move left because we have that, it's going to have to move, this direction. So I think we have that solved. Now, this has to be at least 4, so it's going to be at least these 4 cells, which means this Y shape ain't going to go too far down. And in fact, this Y shape probably not going to move left and right, unless that's the nub. That's possible. You can also do something like this. This is a mingle shape violation, but that isn't. Still too many options here. This F shape. Well, we can't create an orphan cell, but we can... I don't think this F shape can ever touch that spot. Dang it, it can. So what do we know about this spot? I was trying to say, if this spot isn't F, then we have to make a 5 that isn't the F, but we have a lot of options here. Do I have a lot here? This is a possible thing. That's fine. This is fine. This cross, potentially? This cross can't move leftward. We have an orphan cell. It can't move to the right because we touch that. It can't move up because there's not enough space. Can't move down. This cross has to be right here, which breaks the puzzle. Because then what goes here? Oh no, they're not all pentominoes, you dummy. This, I can't make this this shape. So this can be just an L shape, or it can be this shape, whatever it is. Now this C shape only has 2 arrangements. It can't move up ever, and it can't move down ever. Yeah, if it moves down, it either creates this shape, it's orphan, or this shape, which has orphan cells. So this doesn't work either. So it's either this or that. This doesn't work because it's an orphan cell. There's your C shape. So now this one up here, I think is just a 4, because if we have to do at least 4. If we do 5, we're mingle shape violation. If we do 6, we have an orphan cell. So we do have just a regular L. Now this shape in here has to be, nope, don't do that. This shape has to be these 4 for sure. It's got to take that 5th one. It's now an F shape. Can it stay an F shape? No, because if this is the shape, then we'll have an F shape touching it. Therefore, it's got to be this 6er. So the only way this works is by touching this spot, because we need a 3x3 area to work our magic here. And now we just have a regular shape in there. Totally normal sextomino. I wish we had like a ton of sextomino puzzles too. We have a lot of tetromino and pentomino puzzles, but to like train recognizing 6 shapes would be really nice. I think we want to have this guy like so. I think this fits just fine. Like so. I think we got it. That's another good puzzle. We did it. We made this gold. That was a lot of puzzles. That was almost an hour and a half. Half an hour of which was probably me whining. And you know what? Maybe you think I'm just a big whiner and I need to shut my fat mouth and appreciate what the Lord has given us today. But I won't. I just say it. The developers have lost my trust. I will find puzzles I like. I will still enjoy the game overall. But I will not sit here and pretend to enjoy things that suck, nor will I pretend that they are well made and I just don't understand them. I'm going to come right out and say, you guys should have cut 30% of this game. Either that, or you should have refined the 30% that sucks until it didn't suck. You had those 2 options. And if you wanted to release the game at the same time you did, you should have just cut it. There you go. There's already a level editor. Trust me when I say there are fans of this game who will, if you hadn't made the bad puzzles, we will, because fan-made content is 99% of the time the worst shit you've ever seen in your life. That's totally fine. We love to make the worst shit you've ever seen in your life. It's so much fun for us to do that, but we don't charge you $20 to do it. So, there's that. Anyway, I'll see you in the next video, in which, maybe, who knows, I'll go to an area that doesn't suck balls. Until then, thanks for watching and listening to this rant. I will see you around. Have a good day. Bye.